right. Wow, look at the shirts. Great. This is great. Boy, I've been looking forward to this one. This is what I am most comfortable with, is teaching. Now, I'll tell you, I'd rather do it one-on-one and just with small groups because that's how we built the business. Very rarely was it done in front of a large group. But today, you're just one small group that we're going to get down here and we're going to get with it on 3-Star Gold. How many people are not 3-Star Gold in the room today? You think there's some potential in here today? Yeah. Absolutely. How many want to be 3-Star Gold? That's what we're talking about today. That's what I want to teach today. Are y'all ready to get into it? All right. Let's get into it. I want to start with this. 3 steps to success. You guys have heard me say this on phone calls. I teach it everywhere I go. You'll have to continue to employ these 3 steps your entire life. I don't care if it's AdvoCare or anything else. To be successful, I think a person has to take these steps and then continue to do it to be successful. I know you have to do it here. Number 1 is define. We're talking about current circumstances here, physically and financially. Today, we're not going to talk about physical. We'll talk about it a little bit because AdvoCare is product-driven. It will always be product-driven. That's why we pay so much attention to retail and talking about that, because nothing happens here unless we move products. That's the great thing about this business. I'm telling you, if we were pitching the money today, you'd have to knock the wall out and open up 2 or 3 other rooms to fill people in here that were coming for the income. But when they find out, you've got to sell products here. You've got to learn about products. You've got to go through some steps. That eliminates people sometimes because there's work involved in that. But that's how you have a company 30 years from now. It's built on a product. It's very simple. If somebody defines where they are physically and they find out I don't look, feel, or perform as well as I would want to, AdvoCare becomes a huge solution. Today we're going to talk about financially. You've got to define that also. Some of you already have. Some people haven't. I can tell you when Don and I came to this opportunity, I had already defined somewhat where we were financially. We were teachers. I had looked at that and realized my dad was a teacher, coach. But what I did now is I not only defined how tight it was at the end of the month, but I put 3 to 5 years out there on it and looked at it and then defined that and found out that, at 32, I'm going to be earning the same thing at 37. Define current circumstances financially. Where are you at right now? Maybe you have a large income and no time. I've worked with several people that earn the income, but ask them how many games that they've seen their children play. How many times they get to be there on Saturday? How many times through the week? They miss all of those games, and then you pay for it later on when a kid moves on through the house, and you look back and say, golly, I only saw 3 games. You don't want to look at that. Project 3 to 5 years. These are painful things to do, and I'm convinced that most people don't do them. I didn't do them for a while until I had 2 little girls. And I looked at them and realized that it's not going to be long. They're not going to be little girls anymore. And I'm going to be honest, and I know that coaching is not going to change. Plus, I coached with some guys that were already older, and they were in the same boat that I was in. Add 3 to 5 years on it. Identify the disgust and the changes that you want to make. Something has to make you uncomfortable to get you up. AdvoCare is a volunteer business. And we're going to talk about that today. That's the most difficult thing of AdvoCare. We come from where we're employed. Most people in life are used to being employed. When you're employed, there's a boss. There are metrics and measurements in place that make you have to do that. Let me tell you something. If you can make yourself do some things in AdvoCare, you can find yourself wealthy here. You can earn income like you wouldn't believe. And again, today, guys, the reference I'm going to talk about a lot today is income. Even though there's much more to that. If you can treat yourself like you're the boss, it's unbelievable. That's all I ever mastered. I could get on myself and discipline myself. Once I found out what worked, I didn't have to be called. I didn't have to be pushed. Doesn't mean I was the best, most articulate, or the smartest. But the discipline was there. And that's what it leads to uncommon results when you have discipline. That's the hard thing about AdvoCare. Nobody's going to call you and make you do it. You've got to identify what it is that you want to overcome. I love it when I find a stay-home mom or someone that wants to be a work-from-home mom. When I hear that, I know there's passion behind it because there's children tied to it. That's somebody that's going to work. Maybe they want to put their kids in a private school. Maybe the situation is not where they want it right now, but because of finances, they got to watch their kid go through some things that they wouldn't want them to go through, but they can't afford to put them where they want to put them. Let that be a driver for you. You want to talk about something to get you to 3-star gold? Tie it to your children, tie it to your family. Find out what it is. Second step, decide. Here's another one that I'm convinced that not many people do. We live in a society that I don't want to have to make a decision. Don't encroach me. I don't want to have to decide. I want to go home. I can be entertained. We all have a nice home. We've got nice cars. We've got all types of entertainment. There are more things to distract you in this world today than the history of mankind. And don't make me make a decision. Well, until you decide, you don't align all the energy that God's given you. Spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, lines up toward your decision. You know, all that's missing for some of you today is this: I'm going to get to 3-star gold. I am going to make that happen. We're going to work hard. If it takes 2 years, it takes 2 years. If it takes 2 months, it takes 2 months. We're getting to 3-star gold. That's a decision. Make a definite decision to take action to begin to change what it is that you've identified. You want to be a work-from-home mom? You want to change that situation? Get it in front of you. Take action. Third step. Made a decision. Now I've got to take action. It's not just going to happen. We can't think our way to 3-star gold. Hope our way, wish our way. We got to take action. And we're going to talk about that the rest of the day. Here's some keys to taking action. Number 1 is to set goals. All through my athletic career, I set goals. That's a natural thing. Most athletes, most high achievers, don't have to be an athlete, high achievers set goals. I mean, you can't get, that's your roadmap to success. Yet I can tell you not very many people set goals in AdvoCare because of what we talked about earlier. It's a volunteer thing. I'm going to kind of put my toe in the water. You know, I know some people made some income here. Don't know if it's for me yet, but I'm going to give it a shot. And they find themselves giving it a shot for 6 months, and then they're gone. Your most important time is that early time. That's when the emotion and energy is at its highest. And if we'll do a few things, not only you, but the people you work with, one of them is to set goals. Write them down. When I first started AdvoCare, I didn't know to set a goal. I didn't even know what I had my hands on. The first goal was to sell the products that showed up on my doorstep. I'd made an advisor order based on what my buddy had told me, and then they showed up 2 days later. I'd never taken them before. Nobody knew about them anywhere around where I coached, around Tulsa, in that area. So my first goal was, I've got a credit card, and Donna was another reason why I had a credit card coming due in about 30 days. And that meant, you know what, I've got limited information other than what Keith told me. Olympic wrestling team takes the products, and the Kansas City Chiefs take the products, and I've been on them for a couple of weeks. The guys around here have been using them all summer. Coach Sloan had been using them all summer. That was the first testimony I heard about. He's lost inches in his waist. Energy levels are up. Some of the kids on products are getting great results. That's all I had to go on. And a best friend that I believed in and I trusted. But man, the first goal is to get rid of that product. Set a time frame. If we were to say today, how many people want to be 3-star gold? Every hand in the room will shoot up. When do you want to be 3-star gold? There's where you start to paint people in a corner. When you put a time frame on it, guess what happens now? That starts to encroach on my time a little bit. Because if I've got a time frame set, that means I'm going to have to give some stuff up to make this happen. And people start to back out a little bit. Don't have a strong reason. So, man, I don't want to give up my TV show on Thursday night for an opportunity meeting. This is Survivor's back on again with a whole new deal. Be willing to exchange time. When I found out that AdvoCare was a powerful opportunity, and it only took me one time to get in front of Charlie Regas at Success School. We'd sold products there for about a month. People were excited about the results. But you know what? The buddy that got me started was in about the same time I was, so he didn't have any more knowledge than I did. We didn't know anybody in the company yet, other than, man, this stuff is great. It was called Stuff for the first 6 months. Nobody knew the name of it. It was called Stuff. But when I got to Success School, and I'll tell you why I went to Success School, I was compelled to find out more because I had sold products and in 30 days made more than it took me all summer long coaching football camps to make. That got my attention right there. You got a guy here that's already left teaching and went to the fire station, not to be a fireman or running a house fire as much as 24 on, 48 off. Man, on 2 days off, you know what? I'll ref all Saturday. I'll referee. I'll jump on a tractor. I'll cut pastures. I'll brush hog. I don't want a boss. I want the time off that I can work and hustle. So when I saw, man, we did that in 30 days, I'm going to school to find out what this thing's about. And Success School was 80 people. We had 80 people in the room. A lot smaller than this group right here, but I'll tell you one thing that wasn't small. Charlie Regis wasn't small. And his message and his vision was huge. It took me about 30 seconds to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put time into this. Because he talked about what could happen for me. And that's what today is about. Today is about what can happen for you. We're going to go through, we're going to show you the play, the formation, how to move it. But what can happen for you is what's exciting. And that's what I saw that weekend. Came back, got excited, and said, guys, there's more to this than just selling products. This is a lot bigger than that. And some of the guys that got results that we're in. And we started from there. But be willing to exchange time to make it work. I started to give up things like softball. You know, I played in every softball tournament you could get in. Pick up basketball. I know Wade's in here somewhere because we played together in about everything. Wasted more time doing that, and I realized, you know what, 32 years old, it's probably time to put the softball bat up. Now that you got something you can earn income with. So that's what we did. That was where we exchanged time. Let me tell you the first place to exchange it. Turn the TV set off. Turn the TV set off. That thing will ruin you. And turn the computer off unless you got to email somebody. Those things right there will suck more time away from you other than Sports Center from 10 o'clock on at night. That's the only place that's where you spend your time right there. Pretty soon, and you can't stay there because in 30 minutes they start reruns on it. But turn the TV set off. This business is going to be built most of the time in the evening. Everybody works during the day. So you build at night. There was a time, and a lot of these guys will tell you this, there was a time I couldn't tell you who was leading, and I couldn't believe this at the time. I couldn't tell you who was leading any division in football. And listen, I didn't miss any games now. And I knew who the players were. I couldn't tell you anything about the NFL at one time. And boy, it paid off. Because you know what happens now? I can go to any NFL game and take my son and go sit there and go to the locker room and do those things. Because of saying no to a few things then, you can say yes to a lot now. Have a plan. You got to have a plan to succeed. AdvoCare is not built by chance. Nothing is built by chance. It's built by design. Guys, look at any great organization, any great team, any great church. Anything worthwhile is built by design. Somebody has to have a plan. And we've got a plan here that works. And you've got to have your own personal plan. We'll talk a little bit about that, but today we're going to show you AdvoCare's plan for success here. But I'm telling you, your personal plan overrides that. The balance it takes for you to succeed there is a lot more important than this. And go to work. Now that one right there, I'll be honest with you, that eliminates a lot of people right there. Because we all get excited about the endorsements, we all get excited about all the product results and those things, and that's great. But when it comes time to build an organization, that takes work. And just that word sometimes makes people, ooh, I didn't know it was going to be this hard. And again, nobody's going to tell you to do it. So with that, those are the steps. Now let me tell you one other thing about those steps. Whenever you reach your goal of 3-star gold, and that is the goal today, when you get there, you'll have to turn right around again and define, decide, and take action again on your next set of goals. There are some people that reach a goal to be debt-free, and then they stay there for about 6 months and can't figure out where the energy's at. They didn't reset and keep moving forward. You know what? A diamond here makes on average $500,000 a year. We're not going to talk about that today, but once you get to 3-star gold, and if you've used it to become debt-free, the Debt Buster system, I'll tell you the next rung on the ladder is a 6-figure income on average. And that is powerful when you look around and you say, you know what, we're debt-free. We're making about $5,000 to $6,000 a month here. I'm going to step out here and give this a shot. And that's exactly what we did. Never had to look back. AdvoCare never had to make a house payment for me. It never had to make a car payment. Those were already taken care of by using that part-time income to pay off debt. That's the beauty of this if you do it the right way. Here's the goal today. What I want to do is show you up front what it is we're trying to accomplish. And here's what I realized when I look at 4 people making it in 6 months. One of the things that jumped out at me is this. What did I teach on Saturday? What did I teach people? Because we had a lot of folks get to 3-star gold. Their effort was their number one. I mean, we'll never take credit for that. People that want to do this can do it, but we showed them this every Saturday. And I'm convinced that one of the things that I've missed here is we have not been teaching what it is we're trying to accomplish. We get everybody fired up, tell them to get the products out there, but it's like trying to coach kids on a play and you never show them the play. You just talk about what it looks like and then tell them to get on the field and try to line up. And I think that's why it's so difficult. This is what we're trying to do, and I want you to create this type of mindset through your career here. That's your organization right there. 3 legs and total volume. I want to teach you the 2 things that I paid attention to on 3-star gold, and we'll go through this the entire time. I paid attention to total PGV every 2 weeks. We're going to talk about how to work a 2-week calendar. But here's what I understood about 3-star gold. A $500 override. Every 2 weeks, that group that I'm working with, right down to the person taking just a couple of products to the person that's out there recruiting and building, that little organization has got to create $15,000 volume every 2-week pay period. Now, I remember a time when I thought there's no way that can happen. There's no way that can happen in 2 weeks. Pretty soon I was saying, all right, this 2 weeks we've got to have 30,000. Then 60. Then all the way up to 120,000 for diamond. And it will grow like that. But in the beginning I paid attention to 15,000 volume, and I thought of it like this. That's the organization. I'm the CEO of that company. People have to know what to do, how to do it, and I've got to be able to help them. And then I paid attention to each person represented its own leg. And I've got to pay attention to the volume in that leg 3 times. What happens to most people is they'll find one group that's doing something and they'll spend their entire time right there. And they'll have a $400 leg there, but turn around and look and nothing's going anywhere else. And they end up spending the entire 2-week time frame because there's a lot of things to do in there. There's mixers and meetings and there's things that are busy. But I had to look at it like this. I spend time here, but I've also got 2 others that I've got to develop. With this in mind, if somebody fades, I'm still out there looking for the next one to add to it. So I can always stay in there trying to create 3. I've seen so many people build 1 and spend all that energy in there and never get to 3. You're talking about, when it gets like that, you're talking about missing $1,500, $2,000 a check by not having 3. 15,000 volume, at least 5,000 in each leg to be safe. Because that'll create the $100 override that you need in that leg. And you need it in 3 of them. So you're paying attention to totals and paying attention to each leg and the totals in there. Here's how we get paid on that. 2 weeks go by, close the pay period, 15,000 volume, you got it. And it was in 3 legs. Here's how we get paid. You divide that by 2. Our marketing plan works on 50%. So total PGV divided by 2. 7,500 times 7%. We get paid 7% on 3 levels. That's your override. That determines going from silver to gold to ruby to emerald to diamond. You're going to have stuff way down here below that. But we really have to focus in 3 levels. 7% for 3 levels. That's a $525 override. I got it. I hit gold. But I also hit silver. Silver's 3%. Take that same total times 3%, you got a $225 silver bonus. Also hit a gold bonus, which was $500. 2% times $7,500. That picks up a $150 gold bonus. But you know what? Because we had it in 3 different legs, we picked up another 2% for 3-star. Most people don't pick up that other 2%. They maybe have 2 legs or 1 leg, so they're missing out. $150 doesn't look like much right now, but it grows. It grows. Pick up that $525 override, $525 leadership bonus equals $1,050 or $2,100 a month. That's a bare minimum skeleton of a 3-star gold right there. Let's kick it up. We got some things going. We've got mixers going. We've got people recruiting. We're going to talk about how all that happens in a minute. But now we got 24,000 this period. Man, this thing is moving. There are people moving in there. People are excited. Here's something that ought to get you excited too. You may feel like you're pushing and pulling people in the beginning. But I'm telling you, the magic of AdvoCare is when people pursue their own hopes and dreams. Their discipline, their energy, along with a little guidance, is what makes it explode. Sometimes you're going to feel like, man, I got to beg everybody to get going. I got to pull everybody just to come. And people quit because they think that's how it is forever. It's not like that forever. I'm telling you. You do this, and when people are moving on their own, and you're setting the pace still as a leader, it's unbelievable how big that grows. I'm telling you, we cashed some checks, guys, that I looked at sometimes that I thought there's no way in the world anybody could be worth that. But what I realized was, it's not my worth, it's people going after their own hopes and dreams. You get paid because you paid the price to help organize and direct that energy into productivity early on. And now you're reaping the rewards of that large organization. When it's all said and done, it's a lot of people taking a little bit of product mixed in with some business builders. It's not a lot of business builders. You're not going to find a lot of business builders. It's a lot of people taking a product that helps them look, feel, and perform that they're not going to quit on, mixed in with some business builders with strong dreams, strong goals, and a lot of discipline that just takes off. And you're the one that helps set that up and get it going in the beginning. The better a leader, the better pace you set, the faster your group goes. And I understood that. The better I can train and equip, the faster these guys grow. And that's what I paid attention to. 24,000 this period. You know what? We bumped up. We got 8,000 in each leg this period. Let me show you what you get paid on that. Divide it again, times 7%. Now you got an $840 override. Override is right there at Ruby, but it's still in the 3-star gold range. $840 override. But listen, your silver bonus jumped up to $360. Your gold bonus jumped up to $240. Your 3-star gold jumped to $240. Combine those, now you're talking $1,680 for 2 weeks, or $3,360 a month. That's $40,320 a year right there. That's a serious part-time income right there. And that is attainable, very attainable, and you guys can do it. I'm telling you, people can get this done in 6 months or less. Now, it'll take a while to fill out, because the one thing about AdvoCare is this: the leader determines the pace, but product has to move, and there's lag time tied to that, so it takes time. And we don't compare ourselves to anybody else, but you can do this in 6 months, if not sooner. $40,320 a year right there. But here's the key. You got to move people and volume into the blueprint. I've not seen a football play yet on paper that hadn't scored. In fact, everyone I've ever seen on paper scores. That blueprint right there scores. But now when you put people and volume into it, there's where it gets difficult. I coached my son's 7-year-old team this morning. And boy, I tell you, it's worse than coaching an older group, I'm telling you. Because they get mesmerized when they see the first team that's in a different color that they got to hit. It took us a while to put people and volume into the blueprint. It took us about the second half to do that. So it's not just the play, it's people and volume. How do we get that going? It's you executing the plan of action, AdvoCare's 6-step plan of action that creates personal momentum, which leads to group momentum, and on to 3-star gold. And that's what I want to talk about today. There's personal momentum, group momentum, and then there's organizational momentum that we're not going to talk about today, because organizational momentum starts about Ruby and beyond. That's when you can really say, I've got an organization. And there's some other components that have to fit in at that time that have to be taught. Today is not about that. Today is about a group. Nobody takes a shortcut from personal to group. You can't do it. You can't just say, I got a group. If you can't start momentum personally with the products, you'll never move. And you'll never be able to teach anybody to do it. I love that. That's a great thing about AdvoCare is there's no shortcuts here. Using the plan of action to drive it. Let's talk about how do we establish personal. Get to advisor. Understand the core products. Create a warm market list. Massive retail and follow-up. When that product landed on my doorstep 7 years ago, I was an advisor. That's the only thing I had. I didn't understand the core products yet. I had to learn those. If I don't know enough about the core products, I can't walk out the door and talk to my friends and fit them to the right product. Now, a sponsor teaches you that, not the company, not the catalog. It's a sponsor's job to teach core products. There's about 8 of them that we can teach in about 10 minutes where you could go out and intelligently set people up with the right products. Create a warm market list. A person needs some help doing that. It's not enough to say, hey, get your list made. And we're going to spend time on the list in just a minute. Create a warm market list, and then massive retail and follow up. What's massive retail? It was massive for me because of the credit card bill coming in. And I needed to get rid of it fast. Now we teach you because here's what happens. The same thing will happen to you as happened to me, even though I was doing it for a different reason. 30 days, you're going to have a lot of testimonies. And that's what it takes to get it going. Testimonies. We'll talk about that today. Let's talk about your warm market list. And again, listen with 2 ears today. One of them, if you're brand new, and I know there's a lot of brand new people first time, you may be sitting down first time. This is the first time you heard about making a list. So you're listening with that ear. The other one is, if I'm a sponsor, here's the way I need to teach it. Here's how I need to teach new people about the list. And I broke it down in 2 sections. Number 1 was a product list. If I've got a new person I'm working with, I'm going to tell them, look, Mike, think of all the people on the product side. People that want to look, feel, and perform better. Who do you know like that? We've got to help prompt a person to help them start writing people down. Product side's who wants to look, feel, and perform. I can tell you one of the biggest mistakes, not a mistake, but one of the things that happens here more than any is people run out with the products to the people that need the products the most. You know what happens? They won't take it. The ones that need it the most are the ones that are hardest to take it. You know what that does to us? It demoralizes us. One of the things that was good for me is I worked around a lot of people that were health conscious. They wanted to coach, but we needed more energy. Donna, same type. We didn't have a lot of product questions all the time because it was people that you give AdvoCare products to somebody that wants to look, feel, and perform better, what's going to happen? It's like rocket fuel. Health conscious. A lot of people get out there and say, boy, I can't get anybody to buy that. The price, they're talking about price. Here's those type people. Somebody that values a $9 can of Skull is going to tell you that the products cost too much. And we look at that and say, golly, you know. Now, you're not going to take the Skull away from him for anything. I don't care if it's $50 a can. But they're going to say, boy, this stuff costs too much. They're not health conscious. People will spend what is important to them. Don't ever think that's not true. The great thing about this country is, and the people in this country, all of us, we'll step up to the mark. You stick the mark up high enough, we'll step up to it. The danger is we've got it so comfortable in this country. Everybody's got hot water. Everybody's got a car. Everybody's got a TV. We can adjust the temperature. We can make it just right on ourselves. And we're reaching about this much of us are reaching our full potential in life, myself included. It's too easy. Sometimes I wish I was in a tent where I had to get a little uncomfortable. I try to make myself stay uncomfortable because I've never seen anybody in life achieve that is not uncomfortable a little bit. And I've been uncomfortable my whole career in AdvoCare, but it's been a good uncomfort because I could always see the goal that we were pushing for. Talk to health-conscious people. Weight management. You're going to know a lot of people that immediately are going to come to mind. Help them get those people down. Not people that are heavy, but people you know are on the bike. They're talking about diets. They're talking about getting better. That's who you want to line up. Energy. Now, I'll tell you this. That was the big thing for me moving products. I talked to a doctor that's in his 4th year of surgery, residency, down in Atlanta the other night. He took 90 packets of Spark after he went through the whole time of questioning the products. You can imagine a guy that's in residency, that's been in surgery. I mean, skeptical as could be. But energy. Guy's as thin as I am. But energy. Took 90 packets of Spark, and now he's got a business on his hands that can't stop. And they were there in Atlanta. He said, I can't believe this. I got people off the wall with Spark. Well, Spark's that type of product, guys. Energy. Mental focus. Clarity. Great product. Wellness. Just general wellness. Who wants to look better? Sports performance. Stellar. We've got every testimony in the country for you to be able to lay that down and say these guys take it. And I'll tell you something about our sports performance. It's getting ready to get a whole lot better real quick. You'll see a little of that at October School. Incredible products. I'm taking one right now I love. You're going to love it. Skincare. There's a company within a company right there. And I know the ladies know that, but it is a company within a company. We've sold a little over $30 million of that product so far, and people in the company right now don't know what it is. We hadn't got it out there yet. That's something else that's coming. People are going to know this brand, and they're going to know these products across this country. By the end of 2005, the cat's out of the bag on AdvoCare. We may think we've been here 12 years, but I'm telling you, you walk outside this hotel and they don't know who AdvoCare is. There'll be people asking about the cars over, who is this? And here we are right in Dallas. You think you have an opportunity? Absolutely. They don't know who we are yet. That's going to change. So that's one side of your list. Then we have the opportunity side. Who do you know that's financially motivated? I guarantee you that's why Keith called me. I'll guarantee you, because the conversations we had sometimes were based around that. He also knew that I was health conscious. I mean, I had to be the first person he called for those two reasons right there. Working multiple jobs, that was me. Guys, don't think somebody's too busy. You want the person that's working multiple jobs, because here's your only question mark on somebody working multiple jobs. And it doesn't take long if they get in here and look. I don't know of a multiple job yet that has the power of what this has. And I say that with all due respect. But you have to look long and hard to find an opportunity that stacks up like AdvoCare. There's no overhead here. You don't pay employees here. We basically take care of everything at the office. We ship the product, we mail you a check. Now the hard thing is the intangibles are what's difficult. Leadership, working with people, those things can be challenging, but I'm telling you, get paid well for that here. So don't think somebody working multiple jobs won't see this. Influence. Say a little bit about influence. You're looking for people that have influence. Somebody that has people that listen to them. That's important. You can build AdvoCare without influence, but I'll tell you what, it takes time. And here's how. Here's how I can tell you that. If I've got to go out with somebody to help them sell products, that's a person that doesn't have much influence. And I want to be honest with you on that. When you have products like this, if I've got to be the sponsor that goes and convinces your friends, there's something wrong there. Now, I'm going to go with you for knowledge and credibility in the beginning, but you know what? I didn't have to have anybody help me sell products. I had buddies that I had enough influence with that said, you know what? If he's taking it, I'm going to take it. People will have different degrees of influence. They have it, but they won't use it because they're not sold on the company yet. So there's other areas there that slow things down. James West is a guy that had tremendous influence. So when I met with him the first time, that living room was full of people. Influence. Credibility. It's hard to build a volunteer army when you don't have credibility, because people follow because of the example you set, what you're able to help them do, and somebody that doesn't have credibility is going to have a difficult time with that. Character, same way. Sometimes you may find these things, but people that don't have the character will inevitably do something that causes things to dissipate. Look for people that have a lot of character. Disgusted with current circumstances. Who do you know like that? So when you're helping somebody formulate a list, who have they talked to at the water cooler that says, man, if I can't even make a car payment right now, we can't do this, we can't do that. Those people jumped out at me because I'd had the conversations with them. Help people get their list made on that. Here's some tips to your list. Make it a working list. Have it with you always. I had a little green notebook, because here's what happens. Once you get excited, names start to come into your head. And it's not enough to think about them. You'll forget them. Write them down, because we're going to talk to them. And I kept that little running notebook that I could write names on. Add to it through thought or referral. I learned to get referrals. I'd never sold anything before, and I didn't really know about asking for a referral. I learned to take a positive when someone had great results that might have said, you know what, really not interested in the business, but I love the products. I would learn to say, hey, I understand that. Who do you know that wants to feel like you're feeling right now? Do you have a couple people that you could introduce me to that you know would want to feel? I know they're asking. You've lost 4 inches in weight. You feel great. Who do you know? They'll give you a referral. That kept me going down the road instead of just looking at a person that said no and moving on. Your list determines who you talk to next. One of the hardest things in AdvoCare is to wake up in the morning and say, boy, I've talked to everybody I know. So if I had a list of people, I always felt good because I know I got something to do tomorrow. Especially when I got through the first initial group of people that I really knew. Massive retail. Let's talk about that. This is one of the real keys. Now that we got our list made, now the work starts. You can get your list done in 30 minutes. Some of you less time than that. But now here's where the rubber meets the road. To create personal momentum, I've got to get in the car and I've got to get out and I've got to sell products. Does not happen any other way. That's the magic of this business. It is direct selling. It's not storefront. It's not load up a truck, run a route. It is direct selling. We got to get out there and move products. How do we do that? There's only a few ways that we talk to people. And what you're going to see, guys, as we move through the day here, some of these things you're going to look and say, well, boy, that sounds simple. It is simple. And I've always had to keep it simple. Because I can tell you, when the work gets tough, people find ways to do other things to keep themselves busy and to feel like they had a good day. Especially some of our leaders that have gotten past that stage where they're pretty comfortable now. They really start to justify fooling around with a flyer on the internet or making something up here and feel like, boy, I put a good day in. Didn't talk to anybody, didn't sell anything, but I put a good day in today. And we've always got to guard against that. We got to get out there and get moving. How do we talk to people? One-on-one. That was my only way in the beginning. What else was I going to do? Nobody knew anything about it but me. I had to get up and say, hey guys, here's something I got from Keith that I'm just now taking. And well, what is it? I don't know what it is, but it works, man. And I feel great. And I got them going on that. Again, credibility was there, influence was there. They were the right type people. It got it going. One-on-one. I didn't have a sponsor up there with me. Now we have a lot of sponsors that can go with you two-on-one. That's why you're going to move that much faster. And as a sponsor, I want to tell you, you're more important than the company is. You are more important to a person than the company is. And you ought to take that responsibility because you can move people fast. And I knew that. And I learned that and understood it. But at the same time, I want to tell you this. If you don't have a sponsor, don't let that hold you back. We'll be your sponsor. The company is a great sponsor. It's still your discipline, your desire, your effort that determines your success, not your sponsor. But if you are one, be a good one because it makes a huge difference. Two-on-one, setting appointments. Here's what I couldn't do for somebody. I couldn't get you to set the appointments. If you and I are going to go out, I'm going to go with you and I'm going to bring credibility there, but you got to set the appointments. And you got to help them with that sometimes. And remember this about setting any appointment, inviting anybody to do anything, they better understand what is the payoff for me. Every time you talk to a person, you may feel like you're pleading with people to come to Success School. You know what we haven't done a good job of yet? Selling the payoff. What happens if I come to Success School? If people really understood, see, I knew this, if I can paint that, then I can walk away. If they don't come, I'm not going to let that get me down. All I need to do is paint the payoff. Michael W. Smith is a part of that. The endorsements are a part of that. All of those things are key ingredients to school, but the bottom line is, what's that going to do for a person if they come? They better understand that we can train and equip to build or help them get to their hopes and dreams. That's what gets people moving. It's not selling all the science. That's a component of it. Two-on-one, you can't book an appointment unless that person knows there's a product there that can help me get out of the shape I'm in right now. Not a sales pitch, a product. They'll set the two-on-one then. Now your sponsor can come in and help you. Three-way calls. If it's distance that we've got to overcome, and a lot of people it is. Somebody may have just moved to Dallas and their entire warm market and friends is back in Phoenix. Well, we can't walk over to Phoenix and sell product. We got to do some calls. Same way you would if you were going to talk to them in person. Call them up and say, look, got some stuff, might be interested. You know, depending on how well you know them, that type of thing. The telephone knows no distance. Mixers, that became my favorite. And really, I learned it from Donna and Tammy because they had a little old dress shop that they had done. They had sold clothing, and they put ladies together. We didn't call it a mixer, but it got a lot of them in the room. And I learned this. I can either drive around and do all these different meetings, or we can do a mixer in the living room where combine all that activity, and now I can talk to multiple people and also have the law of large numbers. There's a lot of people moving around the room. There's more excitement. So I learned the mixer setting. Sometimes you got to be out there just on your own, driving, talking, doing the little plain 2-on-1, 1-on-1 meetings. But I learned to combine it for excitement and also for time management. And we'll talk about that later. If we're going to build 3 legs, I think of each one of them like this. Each one of those legs, I know who's in there. If I can combine everything in that leg into one meeting, boy, that's a lot better than driving around 5 days a week trying to touch everything in that leg. We'll talk about how we combine that later. But mixers were a favorite for me. They became, and they still are today for a lot of folks. Tips. Stay with the people you know. Stay with people you know. That's who you have credibility with. They'll let you make mistakes. I can't tell you how many people I had to tell, I don't know about that, but I'll get back to you. And that was the truth because we didn't know about it. Somebody would ask about an ingredient and I wouldn't know about it. I'd have to say, I'll get back to you. I don't know, but I'll get back to you. I'd call AdvoCare and try to find somebody down there that knew. And I can tell you, 8 years ago, it'd be the same person that answered every time down there, no matter what the question was. Tom will tell you that. I don't know I think it was Valerie, but it'd be the same lady every time. Before I got to Success School, I thought, man, this can't be real. It's the same one every time. Sometimes they'd lay the phone down, just leave it laying, and you'd hear stuff in the background. But stay with people you know, and they'll let you. I didn't have to tell Wade Stanley about all the ingredients in the product. And that's how we got moving fast. I've seen people get an advisor order and try to go to the state fair to get it sold the first time. And now they're answering questions to people they don't know. And if you do that on a regular basis with people, they're going to tell you, I can't do this. Nobody wants the word no or to be embarrassed. And your friends won't do that to you early on. Here, after time, here's what's going to happen. You're going to gain the knowledge and experience to talk to anybody. You will. You may feel uncomfortable right now, but you're going to gain that through experience. And you'll be able to do some other things. Share your story with excitement. Man, I was excited about how I felt. I didn't have any weight loss or anything like that, but I was excited. Spark was incredible, still is. But I'll tell you this, the Spark that we started with, guys, was unbelievable. It come in a purple packet, and you better get ready. We just had to get ready when you gave it to them to say, don't worry about how it tastes, just how you feel. It had the worst aftertaste you've ever seen in your life. I still can't tell you what it was that was in it, but it had all the neuroactives in it, and it worked. But you knew not to give anybody product in front of another person because they were going to, but they would feel good on it. Mike, you remember that? I mean, some of you guys remember that. We're here, the Purple Spark. Now it's changed. But we were still excited about it. That's another reason y'all are going to move faster. Keep it simple. Again, talk to people that are interested. You'll learn to ask people. You'll learn to get to a point where you say, look, I don't know all the things that you're talking about there from company X, Y, and Z, but here's what I do know. If you want to look, feel, and perform better, there is no question in my mind these products do that. Now, that's up to you what we want to do next. You'll learn to be that straightforward, leave people with their dignity, but hey, if you're interested in looking, feeling, and performing better, I've got the product for that, no question. I've lost this, tell your testimony. Know and use the strength of the company. Learn to use the strength. You do that with our tools. We'll cover that a little bit later, but we have a stellar scientific medical advisory board, all the endorsers. You don't have to go into it in depth, but do that rather than try to explain. The worst thing you can do is to let an ingredient roll off your lips and start trying to explain, well, you know what, our caffeine is the good kind of caffeine. And we have the kind that's, boy, you do that and you've lost all credibility. Because I'm not a chemist. Never have tried to portray that. I don't know about that. Here's what I do know. If the Olympic guys are using it, it has to test. It has to test good. Can't be positive test. Same way with the NFL. And that's what we do here. Strength of the company. Utilize your sponsor. Here's your opportunity, sponsor, to answer tough questions in front of your folks that teaches them how to do it. You want to slow people down. We're going to look at some percentages at the end of this that are really going to bring things in focus. But you really want to slow things down. Even the most strong, thick-skinned person, if they don't feel like they have the right answer, this business is tough on them. As a sponsor, you can teach them how to answer the right way. Not to hide from anything, but to answer it the right way and move forward. Listen for what people want. I think that's a big one right there. I paid attention to what people want. I knew that is the number one button. If I'm going to provide AdvoCare as a solution, I don't need to do a whole lot of talking until I understand what it is that they want. I learn to listen twice as much as talk. Provide solutions and conversations, what we talked about earlier. What's in it for them? What do they want? Spend the upfront time and you get paid. Might not get paid that day on it, but you'll get paid on it if you spend the upfront time. Sometimes you back off the sales pitch and listen to what it is they want. Use phrases that work. If I could show you something that would help you get the results you're looking for today, would you be interested in getting started today? Now, the reason I come up with phrases that worked is once I got outside of the people I knew real well, I started getting answers like, well, get back to me next week. That sounds good. Let me think about it and let me get back to you next week on it. And I thought, boy, I'm not getting anywhere here. I can't get a definitive answer. It goes back to that, what we talked about in the beginning. People don't want to make a decision. But you know what? That wasn't working for me. And I can't just look and say, well, the whole United States doesn't want to make a decision. I had to say, I've got to say something that makes a difference here. And it was my phrase that worked. And what I said was exactly that. Look, you told me you like to lose a few pounds here. Your energy levels are low. I understand that. That's kind of where I came from when I started. But let me ask you this. If I could show you a product today that would make a difference on what you're talking about, would you be ready to get started today? Yes. Then make the sale. If I can't make a sale, I can't get anything done. And that takes a lot of energy out for people. So, well, get back to me next week. I mean, you want to turn around and say, no, I want to get back at you right now. You want to make the sale. But it's us that has to change, not them. Phrases that work. Don't be afraid to say that. Would you? See, that's hard for me. It was hard for me in the beginning to say, would you be ready to start today? And put the pressure on them. No, I don't think so. That's fine. Holler at me when you do. Now I can walk away and not lose any energy from that conversation. Had to learn how to do that. Follow up. To ensure results. People will not take the packets right in the beginning. We know that. I mean, they'll take the whole strip pack. And I learned that if you don't follow up with people to ensure results, they're going to tell you, boy, I took that first day, got sick, I hadn't taken it in 2 weeks. The problem, and I learned that the hard way. I had a guy that took the whole strip pack. He just happened to stay with it. He said, you know what? I wasn't good at follow-up, guys. Donna was good at follow-up, but I happened to see his place that I'd sold the product to him, and I went back in there, and he said, I feel good about afternoon. He said, I take it in the morning. He said, I'm usually nauseous for about 2 hours. But after that, I feel good. The energy's there, like you said. And I said, well, how are you taking it? He said, I take all 3 of them, and I might eat a banana, I might not. But he had the whole pack on his stomach. So that told me that we've got to teach people the right ways. And I'll tell you how we did that later on. We did trainings and things like that. But there's an element to your organization or your group that has to be trained. I mean, I understood that. I understood that, we can keep going and let people come in. But without teaching and training, the level of success for most people is down here. And one simple adjustment with a few people that are out there building, doing it the right way, it shores your entire organization up. That's the beauty of this. I want you to see beyond what you've got going now and understand if I can do a few key things up front with people, it will duplicate itself from now on. And we have people that have done that. You look at Danny and Diane's organization, you look at Joe and Gloria, Norma and Freddie, Denise, Lloyd have a great system for training. I mean, there's a lot of folks that do that. Jim and Marcy O'Hickey, great job at teaching people to do it. And what happens is they don't babysit results. The results just continue to go. And you can learn that. I had to learn to follow up. Follow up for referrals. Again, who do they know? You've always got a warm market, guys. I don't care how small it is. Build off a positive. Who else do you know that wants to look, feel, and perform like you are right now? Well, I've got a couple of people. You know what? If I promised you this, I won't embarrass you. If you'll put me some folks together, I know you're not interested in the business. I understand that. But could you put some of those folks together at lunch that are asking you about your results and let me share some of the products with them? My guarantee to you is this. I will not embarrass you, and the company won't embarrass you. Now, that'll get you in front of people right there. You burn them one time, and it's done. I also understood that. Hear people all the time, well, they won't put me in front of anybody. One of the things that I've always known and understood and been raised that way is don't look to somebody else for the reason something's not working. Look here first, then look to somebody else. Anytime I hear people saying what somebody else is doing, I know right there. And if I worked with them, we'd sit down and talk about that. But anytime I hear what somebody else is doing, my kids will tell you, the minute I hear that from them, all I have to give them is a look. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. I'll make the adjustment. Retail sets up recruiting. Now I want you to visualize this as we go. We've got some products moving out there right now. This is me 45 days into it. A lot of product testimonies, excitement. Retail sets up recruiting. Hey, we all want to come in and recruit to 3-Star Gold. But you got to understand, with no product moving, nothing happens. We've seen some recruiters come in here. They had high influence. They could get people moving, charismatic. They recruited, won a few bonuses, and then look around, that entire group sitting on top of products, not knowing what to do next. And they picked up a few bonuses and disappeared. And for the most part, that is not what AdvoCare is. That's why we spend so much time educating on products and product results, because that's what drives it. But there are some people that in the absence of wanting to go through the plan of action, they just recruit. And therefore, nobody retails. Don't you want to build a lifetime company, not just pick up a few bonuses? I heard a phrase one time I'll never forget. You want to earn a 2-week bonus, you want that to be your check every 2 weeks. It's great to win bonuses, but what if your organization gets to a size where every 2 weeks your check's like a bonus? Coach Sloan, you guys pick up $12,000, $15,000 check every 2 weeks. That's like a bonus check because of the organization. That's what you're looking to do. Retail sets up recruiting because it creates powerful testimonies. And guys, I'm going to tell you again on this. I'm going to talk a lot about the income today, and y'all bear with me on that because there is such a powerful income opportunity. It's not all about the money, but we're going to talk about it today too because we're here to earn it. Creates powerful testimonies. Creates interest and excitement. I can guarantee you 30 to 45 days our phone was ringing off the hook. Well, what is this? Where do we get it? Where did it come from? Well, the company's in Dallas. I haven't seen the company yet. It's in Dallas. You could tell how uncomfortable I was because of the pressure from excitement. Validates the power of the products. When you get enough testimonies going, it validates the products. Let me tell you what happened where we were. The first 6 months were all about ingredient questions. Everybody wanted to know about product, where it was come from, where it manufactured, all of that. Let me tell you where the language changed. About 6 months into it, with powerful testimonies, the question wasn't what's the ingredient, it was how do I build this opportunity, how do I build this business? We laid such a foundation of product results that was a given now. For those that want to build it, how do we do it? How do we do it? And we got into a mode now of building it because we paid the price with retail and validating the products. It was powerful, and it has to happen that way today. So if you're answering a lot of product questions right now, you're on your way. Don't let that drive you crazy. That's exactly what has to happen. It lays the groundwork for explosion, and that's exactly what happened to us. The business exploded. Here's why. You got customers going in the pipeline. Each one of those little arrows are people that you may have run over in the car and sold product to. And that's exactly what it is. They're customers. You've got a 30 to 60 day lag time. Why? A lot of times people don't jump on the opportunity in the beginning. They want to try products first. Once you get outside of your real close group, most people are going to tell you, let me try the products first. Don't be discouraged from that. You get enough product results out there, you'll tighten that lag time down even more. Hey, we know the products work. Tell me about this 3-Star Gold position. It's like breaking a 4-minute mile. When it got broke, 3 people broke it, and it's never stood since. Until that time, they thought your lungs would explode, your head would blow off. It couldn't be done. It's the same way with 3-Star. It is a mental barrier that we're getting ready to absolutely obliterate. And then we'll stand up here and people will say, there are more people at that part-time position than anything I've ever seen. And then the doors come off. And here's the excitement of that. They're going to be in your organization, some of you. There's your pipeline. They're going to come out at the end. As a wholesale customer, they may be a personal use customer that says, you know what, I'll do the $40 and be able to get it at a discount. They may be someone that says, you know what, we got a large family and it pays us to do that advisor order just to be able to get it at 40%. That's great. Or it may be somebody that wants to look at 3-star gold, that position, and say, I want to go after that. Either way, they're going to come out at the bottom. Here's the exciting thing. They're in your blueprint somewhere. They're in your blueprint somewhere. And I understood that. You know, there are days when there are people coming into your blueprint, you don't even know them. It's growing. And that's exciting because it's product driven. People are going to stay on those products. Hey, I value a $40 customer that just wants to take products every bit as much as somebody that wants to earn $1 million a year. Every one of them count. And they're important. They're going to end up somewhere. That's exciting because we have proof to show that most people do not quit AdvoCare. They're going to continue to take products, even if they don't build a business. Success factors, very simple. How fast and how many. Once I understood that, I really believe this, because I've seen other people do it. Once I understood that how fast and how many determine my success, it's going to be hard to stop. It's going to be hard to stop us from being successful. Already had the work ethic. Already would do the hard things. Knew how to discipline. Knew how to set goals. Had a wife absolutely on board that's also a competitor and has goals that are strong, tied to a family. And you narrow it down to how fast and how many, I'm going to win that one. And we went out there every day and talked to somebody. How fast and how many? Is that not what you're looking for? How many of you work in a job right now where if you go in tomorrow and go how fast and how many, you're going to get paid for that? No. Not very many, unless you own your own business. You determine that here. If you want to walk out today and talk to 10 people before you go home, who's stopping you? If you want to go wait, well, we're going to wait till Sunday. Oh, we've got a football game on Sunday, we're going to go. Then maybe Monday we got a couple. Tuesday we might talk to a few. You can do that too. How fast and how many, man? That's what you're looking for in an opportunity. Let's talk about some gauges. Here's where we have to employ some gauges. And I had to learn what these were. We were taught what they were, but I had to do more than just... You cannot teach this business from a chalkboard. You have to engage in it, to feel it, to understand it before you'll ever get it. It's like teaching somebody how to quarterback and never putting them in a game. You've got to get out there and get bumped and bruised a little bit and understand it. So these gauges are not enough to write them down. You've got to go out there and fall short on them a few times. Or exceed them a few times. See what they do to your overall momentum a few times. Then you'll get the hang of it. Then you'll really understand what how fast and how many really means. $1,000 of retail on the first day of the pay period. Let me explain that. That's a gauge. One of the things I want to tell you up front is this. You don't have to do anything here. Don't ever leave and say, well, they told me I went to that training down there at the Adams Mart and they said I had to order $1,000 worth of retail every 2 weeks. I knew there was a catch to it. You don't have to do anything. If you want to put pressure on yourself to move, that was a gauge for me. We don't stockpile product here, and y'all know that. We're not that type of company. You don't earn income here doing that. Personal purchases don't count toward much of the income here for a reason, where people can't come in and just stockpile a garage full of product and pick a bonus up. That's not fair. And we don't set it up that way. Here's what it does. I would order products on the first day of the pay period. I had 2 weeks to get rid of $1,000 worth of product. Plus it qualifies you for your override. But it allowed me 2 weeks to get rid of it. Here's what happened. I had 5 customers, or even a lot more than that, but here's what we did. I understood the pipeline, and I understood what a personal use customer was. I'm going to sell to you about 1 time or 2, and then I'm going to set you up direct to the company. Well, guess what? You're not my customer anymore. That $1,000 retail now has to go to somebody else. But I wanted that type pressure. There are some people that keep a group of customers just so they can unload their product. That's not building, though. That's managing. I wanted to build, and here's the other step to that. Is it not better for somebody to get a discount than it is pay retail? They've got to understand the payoff, and what you're doing better be more beneficial to them, or they'll never get it. The word distributor. Hey, I want to set you up direct to the company where you can be a distributor. The minute they hear distributor, they're done. They'll let you finish up, and they'll say, no, I'll just get it from you. They didn't hear you anymore because of distributor. I knew that didn't work, so what it was is, I'm going to set you up direct to the company. It's a wholesale, kind of like a Sam's card. Spend $40. By the time you bought your 4th box, you paid for it. Now you're direct. You can order online. I'm starting to talk about all the benefits for them to be a wholesale customer. I'm not talking about how they can build a business. They don't want to do that. When they were direct to the company, I looked over here and ordered it and started stacking up. Here comes some discomfort. Because I lived in a little old 60-foot trailer house and it didn't take long to stack to the ceiling. And I saw that and I said, you know what? I got to get some more customers. And I've got to now do some things that are a little uncomfortable. I'm going to go to the gyms. I'm going to go to a tanning salon. I'm going to find out some other customers, or I guess, you know what, I can just stay here where I'm at. Man, we'd already have something going. I'm not going to stop now. $1,000 puts pressure on you to move. You do that, guess what the folks you bring in are going to do? Same thing. I'll tell you this, it better at least be $500 every 2 weeks, or that's not enough momentum to do anything. And it's going to soon fade on you. $100 a day in retail sales. Metabolic nutrition, Catalyst and Spark. Right down to the penny. If I could sell that a day, something's coming from that. They're going to get results. They're going to get excited. May or may not see the business. It'll lead to a referral. That's what I knew about that. Talk to 10 people a day. That was difficult, being a coach, being a fireman, being a dad, being a husband. I had a few hours to do it. Some nights I'd get off the bus or wherever we were, and it may just be a pack of Spark to the guy at the Quick Trip. Is all I could do that day. But I can guarantee you this, I did something every day. Because my gauges and goals were at a point where they bothered me if I didn't do it. So, you know, a lot of times on lunch break where I'd be, downtown going through the tanning salons. Whether I was at the school, whether I was anywhere else, at lunch, I'd start getting uncomfortable. I got free time here. I hadn't talked to anybody today. Now, those are the goals I set. And that's what made us run hard. Maybe it's 5 people a day for you, but it's got to be something. Here's what will happen to you if you don't. You'll end up saying, boy, this thing doesn't work. Instead of saying, you know what, it's been 2 weeks, I hadn't talked to anybody, I haven't sold a product, but it's not working. You got to be honest with the gauges to say, you know what, that's the reason it's not working. It's because I hadn't talked to anybody, and I hadn't sold anything. Be honest. Follow up for referrals again. Top 10 list. I want to talk about your top 10 list because we've already went through the warm market list, and on that warm market list is what I call a top 10 list. Here's what it is. People you have the most influence with. That was Wade and Mike, Randy and Rich, all the guys that we knew that I was real close to. Those are the guys that really got it going fast. In your top 10 list, everybody has that. It may be a top 2. But as a sponsor, I want to know who it is they could call right now to come fix their car for them and help them out. Because there's a good chance that those are the ones that are going to line up and do exactly what they did and get started right now. Your foundation starts most of the time in your top 10 list. Your foundation usually doesn't start with somebody that's been on product 90 days and then decides to get going. If that's the case, again, it goes back to the low influence. We didn't have enough influence or excitement to get anything going. Well, I can guarantee you this. When I told Wade and those guys, man, I'm going to build this. Again, I didn't know anything until I got back from school. But when I came back from school, they had already taken products. They weren't in. I came back from school. I said, guys, let me tell you, man, there is more to this than taking products. Let me show you that. And I told them all the things I see, and I can see right now. I can still see it. They lined up after practice, and we put them in on the computer. They all had their credit cards laid out. And I'll never forget Wade pacing behind. He said, boy, this thing better work. Man, it's better work. But they were my top 10 guys, and they got in and got going. Had 10 of them in the locker room. 5 of them made advisor orders and got started. Utilize your sponsor with your top 10. I didn't have that then. It was only later that Coach Sloan and Keith came up and did a meeting. Now you may start immediately with a sponsor that helped you make your list and going to be right there with you with the top people. In fact, that's the very next question I ask somebody. Once I find out what it is they want, what they want to accomplish, we go through that. My next question is, if you broke down tonight and you could call 5 people, 10 people that would come, wouldn't ask any questions, who would that be? Name those people. When can we sit down with those guys? Because I know as a sponsor, he just made an advisor order. We get in front of the top 10. There may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more that say, we're in. We're in. Now I've got 5, 6 people to work with as a sponsor, and I'm going to teach all 6 of them at the same time. We'll go through the plan of action. That's how you start teaching folks how to do it. Right there. Starts with the top 10. He's going to be getting products out and doing that already. Emphasize the 3-star gold position. Guys, let this become a talking point for the business. And I'll tell you, you present it in a positive way. We're not over-promising. I'm going to tell you the $38,000 to $40,000 a year, that's on average. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. AdvoCare does have that position, but it doesn't come without work. But let it be a talking point for you when you're visiting with people. You know, we have a position, an income position here that pays part-time. And if you're excited about it, I'm going after it right now. Here's what it looks like. But if you're excited about it, man, let's go. And that's how we use that as a position to get going. Instead of just saying, boy, you can make money here. No, there's a position that allows you to earn income here. Personal presentation tips. When you sit down and start talking to people, whether you're brand new, or whether you're a sponsor, or whether you're a sponsor working with people, utilize the sponsor if possible in a personal presentation. Again, because they bring credibility, a little bit more knowledge, and they can answer some questions. I can't tell you how much time, it's not wasted time, but I can't tell you how many conversations were cut off because I had to say, hey, let me get back to you on that. Whereas if I'd have had a sponsor that was seasoned, he could say, let me tell you, here's how that works. But at that time I didn't, and I had to say, let me get back to you. Now I wouldn't trade that for anything because it made me hustle even faster and it made me learn every part of it. But can you see how a sponsor can really shrink that learning curve? They can. Look sharp. Be prepared. When I say look sharp, I'll be the first to tell you, you can do this in shorts. You can do it in a t-shirt. And I'm proud of that fact because that's true. Most of the time I did. But look sharp for the arena that you're going into. If you're going in to talk to somebody that's in the bank working, you don't want to wear a pair of shorts and a hat flipped around backwards in there. Look sharp. And I did. I dressed according to where it was that I was going. Be prepared. Have your magazines and stuff organized. Now, I didn't have my business organized, but when I went in somewhere, I didn't have a rolled up magazine or pages torn out of it. That was good. I might have had the guy's name wrote down on a gum wrapper to see where he was, but when I went in there, I had stuff in there to leave. Be prepared. Never be without product. I can tell you so many stories of times that I had product, and Donna did too. I used to ride a motorcycle in. I had to give my motorcycle up, sell it. Couldn't get product on it. You only get so much products on a saddlebag. And I didn't even have a saddlebag. So I sold my motorcycle and got the truck and drove it up there. Have product with you. Boy, it's always an emotional decision when people want to buy products. They want it right now. Come back to them tomorrow and they've already got a bill they got to pay for something else. Spark, metabolic nutrition, high impact products. People that can feel that immediately. Get to know people first. You'll hear me say this a lot because I understand it. I do it the same with those 7-year-old boys out there. I want to know who those little guys are. I want to spend the upfront time in the relationship with them before you start yelling and asking and demanding out of them. You know? And it's the same thing here. You spend the upfront time to get to know them. Isn't that what great coaches are about? You look at every great coach and they're going to be hard and there's some things that they're going to take people through that are uncomfortable, but if they paid the upfront price, didn't roll too fast, paid the upfront price, that's the key. Get to know people first. Ask questions. Listen for what they want. Know how many kids they have. Know what it is that they used to dream about. Let me tell you something. People put their dreams on the back burner. They've given up. You start talking, you'll hear, boy, we had this one place we used to see it all the time. You know, we were going to build this place one time. Why can't you do that now? What's keeping you from doing that now? Finances? We can handle finances here. There's a way to do some of those things here. Start talking to people and rekindle what it is they're excited about. It may have nothing to do with money. They may have the money, but they want to see those kids play. And that's what it is. Man, I had a guy like that. We ran hard because he missed all the fun things. Missed all the basketball games. Listen for what they want. Then position AdvoCare as a solution. That's a real simple thing, guys, but I'm telling you it works. I don't know of any company, anything on earth that survives or stays in business if it does not provide a solution. It has to provide a solution. If our products didn't work, we wouldn't be in business. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of companies out there that they have to do other things to make their thing work, and it's usually in the marketing plan because the products don't work. If we don't provide a solution, we're not in business. If people can't get to 3-star gold and reach their dreams and earn income, it slows everything down. Position AdvoCare as a solution. Use strength of the company, the tools, magazines, phone calls are a tool. Meetings that we do across the country, those are all tools to help. There's not very many meetings that we don't do that are about getting business and about compelling people to get with us and get started. Again, I learned phrases that worked in the business. Here's the one you want to be talking about now. If you're talking about income and people say, well, tell me about the business. How does this work? Or you get to the point where you need to get them there. If I could show you a part-time position that pays between $35,000 and $40,000 a year on average, are you ready to sit down and hear about that? That'll get people to a yes or no. I can't tell you about what the other companies have done or what somebody else's marketing plan's about. I can't tell you about any of those things. But listen, if I could show you a position here that pays between $35,000 and $40,000 a year on average, and people are doing that, many of them are doing it, would you be willing to give me an hour here? 30 minutes to spend with you. Then you got to be prepared to show them what it is we're doing. Plan of action, blueprint, what are we trying to accomplish? And emphasize that position. Talk about 3-star gold. Take it from concept to reality. That's what we're going to do over the rest of this year and beyond. Take it from concept to reality. Show them options. When you show people options, you help them relax. It's not all about getting to an advisor and going to 3-star. You can be a retail customer here. I can continue to sell products to you, and will, if that's what you choose to do. Really, though, I'll tell you, if I were you, I would take advantage of it's like a Sam's card. I'd take advantage of a 20 to 40% discount. Cost you $40, you can do that. We have a position there. But then we also have another position called advisor, either for a 40% discount, or maybe you're the kind of person that wants to be the CEO of your own company. You want to have your company here, and you can build that working with people, working toward a 3-star gold position that we've talked about. Show them options of what they can do. Okay, all of that has been about personal momentum. How we get some things started. Again, how fast and how many is going to determine. It's just like a farmer planting seeds. Your list is a fresh plowed ground. We can plant 2 seeds in it. 60 days, there'll be 2 plants pop up. Or we can take an advisor order and more and get it into that list. 30 to 60 days, now we got a crop. We got something to work with. That's personal momentum. Let's talk about group. Very simple. Here's what constitutes a group. When you find 3 people that define, decide, and then take action. That's not 3 people that are thinking about going to advisor. 3 people that are thinking about sitting down and talking. When you have 3, that's your foundation. Now you've got a little group going. It's usually going to come from your top 10 list. It may take a while. They may come through retail, but they're going to come. What do you do with them? Immediately, they do exactly what we've talked about for the first 45 minutes to an hour. They get engaged in that plan of action of creating personal momentum. You see the you up there. You recruited those 3. Above that, though, is the sponsor. The sponsor's there. They get started in the plan of action. Get to advisor, learn the core products. You start sitting down with those 4 or 3 and help them create their list and start talking about retail. That's why you can never lose touch with retailing the products and get to a point where you think, boy, I don't have to do that anymore. I've got a group going here. You'll be right back down talking to a brand new person that knows nothing, that has to be confident in getting out there and retailing products. So you're back down there even though you've got a group. Now that 3, look when they find 3. Now we're on your 2nd level. If I'm your sponsor, it's my 3rd level. But now look what we've got. Those 3 have found 3. Now you've got some duplication going. Here's where it's extremely important for a sponsor to organize and direct that energy and excitement into productive results. This can happen literally in 1 week. It can happen in 2 days. And if the you, which is you, have not been in very long, boy, a sponsor's got to get in there and help direct that. We got to sit down, talk about lists, talk about all those things, and start moving. Now it takes a sponsor getting after it a little bit to help direct that. In addition to maintaining your daily method of operation that we'll talk about in a little bit. Sponsors should provide knowledge and credibility. Get yourself in a position where no question is going to slow your group down. Doesn't mean we don't have to answer it. Doesn't mean they don't have to take time to learn it. But get in a position as a sponsor where things don't just stop. I can step in there, answer the question, get past it and move. I've seen it where you have one leg where somebody has a lot of influence that says, well, until they answer that question, I'm not doing anything. And it stops everything. Sponsors got to be ready to handle that and keep going. What to do next? How do we take those three and drive them from personal momentum to help them get a group going? You help them find three. Explain what it is that we're trying to accomplish. It's my job to help do that. Duplication, what are we duplicating? The plan of action and the blueprint. Those two things right there that we've covered up to this point. Encouragement. Now here's where the intangibles start to take over right here. Encouraging people. Helping them stay in the game. Again, people are here on a volunteer basis. They're not here for another boss. That doesn't work. It takes encouragement. I can't encourage unless I know what it is that person wants. Hey, stay with it. Don't worry about them not showing up. That's going to happen. That's going to be natural. It's happened to me a lot of times. You stay with it and we'll get her home if that's what you want. Now, you got to do the work again. Can't promise you that. But I can guarantee you this. Don't let a no-show mixer get you out of the game. You stay with it, we'll find some other people. Keep moving products. Encouragement. Positive atmosphere. Boy, I tell you, that is so huge. It's something that I pay attention to this day more than anything else, is keeping a positive atmosphere with a group that I work with. I can control that. I can tell you the negative seed takes everybody out of the game. Well, if they'd do this, we could move a lot faster. If they'd change this, it'd move a lot faster. One ingredient we don't have. If they put it in there, we'd move a lot faster. If that gets going in your group, and it does. Everybody, again, when the work starts, people start looking for reasons why they're not succeeding. And here's my mindset on that. Here's part of creating a positive atmosphere. Remove the excuses for people to succeed. That's what I pay attention to. That's the pressure that I keep on the group that we work with in the office. We keep that pressure up all the time. What do we not have that's blocking them from succeeding? And there are some things that we're going to get better at. It's the same thing that I did in the organization. I told Donna I cannot take care of the heart, the desire, the discipline, the focus. I can't do anything about that, but I can take care of the environment for success. I went up and found a training center in Tulsa. That's something that's not duplicatable. It's something you don't want to do. But you know what? We were at a point where I said, there are folks coming into the organization now, take a 2-week pay period. There are a lot of people saying yes to AdvoCare. Who's teaching them on Saturday? If I'm not directly handling that, then I don't know for sure they're being trained. It was worth me going and spending $25,000, $30,000 a year on a training center with some other folks that chipped in with that. But for the most part, there were a lot of times when I paid the bill on it. But I knew on Saturday they're going to get trained. And now I could say, you know what? They had to decide where they wanted to be there. It's 10 in the morning. We're going to do product training, quick start business. It takes an hour and a half to do that. And I can feel good that they were trained. You know what happened? People drove from Missouri. They drove from Kansas. They drove from all over to be in that training. Some of the folks that live right there wouldn't come. But the ones that come 8 hours would come. And that'll never change either. Don't let that bother you. There'll be people that won't walk across the street and somebody else will drive 8 hours to get there. But then I knew that, you know what, it costs a lot of money. It's something that I don't want people to feel like they have to do to be successful here, because you don't. But in my mind, that's how I know that I'm doing the best I can do to teach and train. And it became another step where we were able to teach parts to a meeting. I mean, I'd tell Mike Barrett, listen, you got the meeting tonight. You do the open, you carry the testimonies. I haven't done that before. You do it tonight. You got it tonight. And we taught the other components to it. It became a training center, and that's exactly what we did. It wasn't a place to hang out. But I could feel comfortable, and it was always positive. That group was always positive. There was not much negative talk. You can control that as a sponsor. We've got a very positive company, but there's reasons for that. Let a few people start talking with some influence, and you don't put a stop on it. It'll take your whole group away and lose focus. Sponsor must be in front of a new person's top 10. I think we've talked about that, and I think you understand the reasons why. That's where we can really speed up and get it moving. Now, we talked a little bit about this and touched on it a little bit. Organizing the group in mixers and trainings. When it started to get big, man, it can keep you running every night. And if you're running every night in just one leg, the one that's screaming the loudest, you've got other groups in here that if you don't combine them, you're not going to get to all of them in a 2-week pay period. And I know how that works. I thought, I can't get to everybody in 2 weeks here. And all of us coming from one person. So I started to combine those trainings together. They didn't have to know each other. All you got to have is a central location or a central phone call. You can do it on a phone. Power of large numbers. I found out that, people get a lot more fired up when there's 20 people in the room versus maybe 2 people. That's another reason to combine it. Not only for time, but for excitement. Combine your mixers. Combine the trainings. There are many times when it started to move outside of just in Tulsa. I would do a training call at night. There'd be 8 living rooms tied to it. And I'd do a product training on the phone. Every one of them would hold a product up and I'd explain what it is. Okay, everybody, you guys pick up your yellow box now. And then I would do that. But you know what? It was all in one leg. And when that phone hung up that night, all the business from that conference call got into that one leg. And you'd start to see it. Same thing with a recruiting call. Organized, understood what it was that we were doing, had the right people on the call. Combined. Doesn't happen by chance. By design. You got to know your group. You got to know where the volume's at. And it's amazing how you'll start hitting these goals. Reinforce the 3-star from concept to reality. It's important in your group that people hit it. There's nothing more powerful than somebody breaking the 4-minute mile in your group. You know what happens when somebody wins a bonus in a group? Somebody else wins one in that same group, not far behind it. Setting the pace. That's something else you want to understand. I understand it as a company right now. That's why it's so tough for me to see the results on that. 38,000 average part-time income position. How many are in the game? Start to think about your organization like this. Know who it is that is engaged and in the game. And you know what? If some of them just want to get to silver right now and they're working on that, that's one of the progressions. That's okay. If some of them are distracted right now and you know what? We can't be there tonight and really we want to get there, but tonight's not going to work. Let that be okay. But if you're coaching a team, I want to know who's in the game. I've got to be in the game, but I want to know who else is really going for it. Because when we talk about this 2-minute close and how we close out a little bit later on, that's exactly where you want to be spending your time. If you have no idea where people are, and again, it's not calling up and whipping on people to get in the game, because they got to get in the game for the right reasons. All we do is organize and direct. But I can tell you, I knew who was in the game. I know who's in the game in this company right now. You take our top leadership group, I know exactly who's in the game. I know who's fooling themselves because the numbers don't lie. There's not a one of them that can't continue to grow if they want to. There's not a one of you that can't do it. You've got every component to do it. It's going to be difficult. Understand that. But who does that matter? Work on yourself and you get better and your whole group gets better. Saturday training. Let's talk about what you do on Saturdays. If we've got a group going, it's going to grow. And we got to pay attention. It's going to grow past you. Where there are going to be folks that get involved that you didn't meet. Because here's what will happen. One of your group gauges, we don't have it on here today, but it will be soon in an organization. One of your gauges is, on a given night, how many mixers went on in our organization. Let me tell you, that's one of the gauges that when I started paying attention to that, on any given night, I could do a mixer over here, but you know what? There were 10 of them that went on that night. Somewhere. That's when you got things going. Some of you got that going. I mean, some of them in the room here have got that going. And that's exciting because they know what to do and you don't have to be right there helping it. They understand how to do it. 3-star gold blueprints, what we taught. We taught the plan of action. Get to advisor. Understand the core products. We'd cover the core products. Get your list made. Massive retail. Introduce top 10 list and recruit and understand the tools. You got to equip people to answer questions. They can't carry you around all the time to answer questions. Let the tools do that. Bulletproof shield. Danny McDaniel come up with a bulletproof shield, and I've used it ever since I got it from him. It teaches people how to answer questions using the strength of the company. You've got it in front of you there. It's on that little fold-out that we have. Bulletproof shield teaches people how to do that. If you don't, guys, they're only going to take so many no's. There are certain personalities that will keep banging their head and going until they figure it out. And I had one like that. There are other personalities that they feel embarrassed after about the 4th time. They're going to say, look, if this company can't train me any more than this, I'm done. And that's how they feel. And to a degree, they're right. It's our job to teach it. Gauges. We taught the gauges where people could stay on track. AdvoLink. That's a critical piece to the tools we have here. That's how you communicate. In the beginning, it keeps you locked into the company. Number one reason people will leave is lack of communication. They get in, they don't hear from anybody. They were excited, but you know what? I really don't know what to do, and I hadn't heard from anybody. They're out of the game. So in the beginning, they can get that, get positive messages on there, stay in the game, anything that can keep you going. Again, you're always fighting that volunteer part where, you know, really I don't have to do this unless I want to. You don't communicate with me, I can guarantee you I'm out of the game. After you grow a little bit, it becomes your mechanism to teach and train your organization. There is so much teaching that goes on AdvoLink from these top leaders that send a message out. And you'll learn that, and it may be something that you feel like, you know, I can pass that down. So in the beginning, you stay hooked up. Later, you'll pass it down to 5 people, and they'll send it down from there. It becomes a training tool to move an army. You can't call everybody and tell them you're changing a mixer date. But you can send one link out, and it goes to everybody. Success School and any other impending events, we always talked about that on Saturday because you build a business between schools. Those folks will come back excited. They'll add to. Think of it as 3 legs. If you got people there in each one of those legs, they'll come back and add to those legs. We'll work 90 days. Some will fade. Some will get stronger. We'll go into January school. So we always talk about school and other impending events. What I want to tell you is what I've already said today. Make sure we sell the payoff. Make sure that we sell the payoff. You know, there's a lot of, you guys have been in a while and y'all understand and know who I am, but you know what? There's people that could care less who Todd Cash is. What am I going to hear if I come today? That's what you want to sell. It could be anybody up here bringing the message of AdvoCare. But what is it that I'm going to gain if I'm in the room? That's what you want to sell to any event. And I was good at that. Now, Charlie made it easy to sell him because he's going to deliver. And as a sponsor, you want to deliver. Don't have to be charismatic, don't have to be the best looking, don't have to be the smartest, but you better be able to bring a message that people hear and say, I can do that. There is some hope here for me. That's the key to selling the event. 2-week calendar. We got to learn to work a 2-week calendar. Your business, this business, moves bi-weekly. Everything, we got the pressure on us, and believe me, Wednesday morning starts a brand new pay period. We've got 2 weeks to work, and then Tuesday night, midnight, pay period's going to close. You may have 12,000 volume, you may have 24,000 volume, but it's going to close Tuesday midnight. Your income depends on it, the check you're trying to build, all of these things depend on what you do in that 2-week pay period. There's a way to close it out, and I want to show you starting on Tuesday. We have a close. Wednesday, here's what you ought to do. Guys, I'm telling you, you'll learn this, and if you get out there and practice it, you'll have an internal clock going. And when you're in the game, this business is so much fun. Some of the funnest times that I've ever had is on midnight, Tuesday night. After the period closed, we would all meet at the football stadium to see where we finished up. I mean, we'd go to the football stadium a couple of reasons. One of them, we'd run all the paper out of the copy machine down there. That's where we got all of our paper. AdvoCare didn't have magazines and things back then. Is if you got something that was valuable, you better get copies run off. So they'd come in there every day. Who's using all this paper in here? But what else we did was, where'd you finish up? Man, we were in the game at midnight. It wasn't in bed. It was in the game. Wednesday, you started your daily method of operation. That's just as well called the plan of action. What are you doing out there to get business? Talking to people. Daily, paying attention to the gauges. Thursday, those are mixer nights. Or opportunity meeting, business opportunity meetings. You've got your calendar, and then AdvoCare has a corporate calendar. And I'm telling you guys, we're in so many places right now, it's unbelievable. We're just about to get to a point where there's not a person anywhere that can't get to an opportunity meeting somewhere, corporately sponsored, not just you guys, corporately sponsored events somewhere. I mean, we're out there. This is the 7th or 8th 3-star gold training I've done. In addition to the business opportunity meetings these guys are doing. In addition to the evenings that we've spent with that meeting set. We're out there. We've got more people going to Maui on this Maui trip. 40 distributorships are going on that. 21 of them represent 21 different states. That's never happened before. And we're doing an opportunity meeting in Honolulu when we're out there. There's a group out there. Rick's going to have to jump on a little plane, fly over across the water, and do a meeting out there. Thursday's opportunity meetings, Thursday's mixer night. Friday, you're back in a daily method of operation. It's hard to do a business opportunity meeting on a Friday night. Got football games, all those type things. What am I doing during the day to set business up? Paying attention to the gauges. Again, on Saturday, here's your concept for Saturday. All the people that had an opportunity to say yes or no through the week, who's training? Maybe somebody got in on Monday. They got an advisor order sitting on their table now. What do you think it'd mean for them to come in Saturday and be trained by somebody that knows the plan of action and how to get going? I can guarantee you, I don't care who they are, when that product lands on the doorstep, there's a little fear there. But you know what? If I'm in there Saturday and I come out there saying, man, I can do this. Or you do a mixer for them and they sell $800 worth of product, their first mixer. Now you got somebody in the game. You let them come around 2 weeks holding product, start to go down. Saturday train. Sunday we have a bonus call. Monday, we're back in that daily method of operation again. 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, maybe 3-way calls, maybe going to a tanning salon. Maybe going to a gym, trying to work out next to somebody where you can hand them some spark. Nothing wrong with that. By this time, you've got the skill to do that. Tuesday, opportunity meetings and mixers again. Wednesday, same thing, gauges. Thursday, here's where I want you to look. Thursday, mixer, business opportunity meeting that night, but now my mindset, my internal clock says we're in the 2-minute drill right now. We've went a week and a half. There's some volume there. If I'm in the game, I ought to know where that is. I could tell you on Thursday night, I knew within a couple of $1,000s that we had $8,000 on the books right now because Mike put an advisor in. Wade might have got one. Somebody else did a $500 order. I had a pretty good idea that we're at $8,000 total right now. Man, we're $7,000 away from closing on Tuesday night. Where can we get that? Here's the key. Thursday night to Tuesday, you have to be working in the right spot. Total volume and different legs. Where are they right now? If you don't have an understanding of that, the period is going to come and go, and you're leaving it to chance. I'm telling you, if you focus on it, and we're going to help you do that with what we're doing corporately, and then when the leadership that's not doing it, there are a lot of them that are, embrace it also, you're going to see the success rate go up to here. Here's how we do that. I've got to understand names and volumes. Who's in the game? If I know who's in the game, I can call them and say, hey, listen, Wade, who can we talk to between now and then? Maybe Wade's leg is $75 and I know that. It's not going to be, Wade, listen, man, I need to get an order from you so I can get this leg up. It's who have you got going? The guy you were talking about last week, can we sit down with him tonight or maybe at lunch today? Yeah, he may not have the urgency yet that you have. But if you spent the upfront time with him, built a relationship with him, and that energy is going toward the goal that he has set, he'll set the appointment. And if I'm there as a sponsor, we may get a $1,500 order. We may get an advisor order. I'm just forcing momentum with people that are in the game from Thursday to Tuesday. Y'all understand that? You're not forcing orders. You're forcing momentum with people who are in the game by calling and saying, hey, who do you know we can talk to? Now, you're going to look at some legs, and all they're going to be is retail legs. You're going to look down through there and say, you know what, there isn't anybody in there that's doing anything. There's nothing to talk about. It's not about calling and telling somebody to make an order. That's not what we do here. Y'all know that. But if it is somebody that's engaged, where can we get business at? That's how we close a pay period out. Tips on the pay period close. Know where you are in volume. If you're saying, you know, I don't have any idea. Now we have some reports, but most reports don't go out because there's no need. We didn't have reports. So I'm going to just tell you right now, we didn't have reports. I knew who was working, and I knew the orders that were coming in. Maintain a daily method of operation and pay attention to gauges. What that means is this. Don't get to where you're managing something. I'm still out there, even during the pay period close, I'm still looking for customers. I'm not going to abandon that. I'm going to stay with a daily method. Who's working? Who's in it, who's not? Don't manage. Again, it's not about calling. It's about calling and saying, who can we work with? Who can we talk to get you where it is that you want to go? And spend that time. You know where most people spend time at pay period close is they spend time in a leg that's already built. because that's where the activity is. At that point in time, you're over here trying to get these guys from $60 to $100. You wouldn't believe how many people close the period out with $70 legs, $80 legs. And they have no idea there's somebody in there to work with. That's what we're doing on Thursday night with this new call that we're doing. We're calling it a 2-minute drill call. If you've got a $100 override and at least one leg, you're on there listen only. And I've got all your numbers in front of me. If you're $300 override and at least one leg, you're on there live, interactive. Some of you in the room have already been on there. But here's what's great about it. I've got all those reports spread out in front of me, and we go down through there with each person. And I may ask you, Murray, look, you got Mike Scalar here is at a $78 leg. Have you got anything going in that leg right there that you can work with? And I'm going to start talking about names and numbers with you guys live to help you understand what to do and where to go to close it out. And when you do that, you're going to find people working in the right areas. Now, here's what ought to bother you. Why are you not on that call? You ought to be uncomfortable if you're not on that call on Thursday night. We'll call you. So don't worry about calling us. We'll call you if you're in range for it. And we'll get you on there. But you ought to be uncomfortable if you're not on that call. Because that's who I'm looking at that's in the game. And here's another thing. You don't want to call and have 2 legs and then the other one's at $4. You know, you want to get them up. This is not something to embarrass you. It's to help you get in there and get going. We're already seeing results from that, guys. Thursday night on. Where can we get business in the blueprint? That's what it's about. That's what I'm going to talk about. And those that are interactive, they're going to ask some questions, and those become teaching points for the rest of the group listening in. And it works. Utilize tag-ons. It's a powerful part of the business here that few people understand or utilize. Number one, we've got to understand all the ways that we have to bring people in. We've got a single order of 3,000. We've got an order where you can find 2 people, 1,500 each, equals 3,000. And then we've got a line of 3, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Once that's complete, it can be on the very first day of the pay period. It can be on the last night of the pay period. But once it's complete, how many of you understand that we have tag-on orders that you can make? Do you guys understand that? That's a pre-packaged order. It's already at the office. Now here's what we do. We take out any thought process there. We have it already packaged for you. And there's no limit. So you've got fear of loss. If it's the very last night of the pay period, and guys, this is exactly what I was told. You got a night to tag on. That's how I came in. I didn't have time to think about it. Keith said, listen, this pay period closes on. I didn't understand anything about a pay period. I understood that it went from $750 to $2,100 if you don't tag on. That's what I understood and was able to do that. That's how you tag people on. You get it complete, and you know what? We can go out now and find as many as possible that can come in one time. Guys, if you utilize that, you could literally fill a blueprint out in one pay period. If you took 3 people across the top, I wish somebody would try this. Recruit 3 people across the top at 3,000. And then say, you know what? We can, and you can tell them this up front. We can tag on as many people as possible this 2-week pay period. And here's what we can tell them. Look, it's $1,000. You can come in, or it goes to $3,000, or you have to find other folks to do it once the pay period ends. Who do you know we can talk to right now that we can build this thing all the way down from there? You can tag them on in any order. Jason Stoughton put 28 of them in one pay period. It was to close out a contest that we had going. But I remember being in the mixer one night where there were people just lined up behind the computer. And he was sitting putting them all in on the computer, the next person to come up. Put them in that way. Fear of loss. The pay period was closing. And they come in like that on a tag on. So utilize those. Those are powerful to do in a 2-week pay period. Few people use them. Here's what it is we're trying to accomplish, guys. Very simple. Total volume. And then pay attention to the volume in each leg. If you can grasp that, where you can carry that around, not only on paper, but you can carry it around mentally. I can guarantee you the people that are in the game, they can see this in their mind right now. They can name the people. Richard, I know that's where you guys are. You can name the people in each leg. You know what level they're on. You understand what their commitment is. That's why your business is being built methodical. You understand where it is. Now, I want to show you reality here about AdvoCare and its numbers. 5% can do this with little or no direction. It may even be less than that. But I would say 5% of the people, if you just threw them in here and got them some product, they're going to figure it out. And we've seen that. We've seen people, Danny McDaniel's the best example, he and Diane, of anyone I've ever seen. They had help, but I'll tell you, in 2 weeks, he said, I can earn $1 million here, and quit his job. In 2 weeks and took off. Now, I never would have had enough courage to do something like that. But he did it. He's one of those 5% people. But they're very few. I mean, everything has to be lined up just right. The disgust has to be there, the 3 to 5 year projection, knowing that things aren't going to change, and all of a sudden an opportunity comes and everything you have is lined up toward that opportunity. That's one of the reasons it doesn't happen very much. 25% can get better with help and direction. Those are the ones that I really paid attention to. Those are the people on the bubble. If you can help them believe, if you can encourage, if you can find out what it is they want, they'll start to dream again. They'll start to believe again. They'll start to see the power of the opportunity, and they've got a sponsor organizing and directing and keeping things positive and encouraging. Those people will be right on the bubble. They'll succeed, and they'll succeed at a very high level. Next group makes up the majority of AdvoCare, the company. If you look at our group as a company right now, distributors in the field, this makes up the majority of our company. They struggle with a business. They're just going to struggle with the business. There may be distractions in life. There may be a lot of things that keep them out of the game. But the bottom line is they're going to struggle. Good thing is they stay as customers. They're going to stay in your blueprint. Those are the people that make up the average order at AdvoCare, about $200 a month, that just call and love to order their products. Here's what you can do. If you're organized early on and work with people, spend all the time and the upfront energy that we've talked about today, that 65% group will produce a lot of 25s and some 5s out of the people they know. That's the magic of this business. I knew in my mind the odds were people are not going to stay with it. In fact, 65 to 70% are not going to stay with it. But a lot of them bring some upfront energy. Everybody comes in and gets excited in the beginning. The emotion's there. They hang in the game. And if you stay with them and engage, they're going to introduce you to some producers. It's the introducer-producer. Not everybody's a producer, but they can introduce. So I treated them just like they were the highest producer in the company. And that's exactly my mindset. Wasn't any differentiation at all. I understood some things about people that make some move and some don't, but they got the same energy and attention because they may jump up and be one. So I spent all that time with them, but I also knew this: the faster we go, the odds are they'll fade. They'll get distracted. They won't show up. Who did they introduce you to? That's happened time and time again in this company. It's usually not the one you sign up. It's the one they bring to the table in a mixer, in a 2-on-1 somewhere. How good can you get with that group right there? Hoping they'll make it, because they might make it. 5% quit. They're just going to flat out quit. One day they show up, the next day they're just like smoke. They're gone. They never make another order. In fact, they send their products back. That just happens. Doesn't have anything to do with the opportunity. Doesn't have anything to do with the marketing plan. They may tell you that. Don't let that take you out of the game. Guys, you've got the company to build. The problem is it's legitimate work is what it is. That's what makes it different from a society that sees the lottery mentality all the time. Everything is quick, short. How can I sign up and win the lottery? So you're going to have people that aren't going to stick it out and stay with it. It has nothing to do with the opportunity. In fact, we're at a place in time right now with this company that's just rumbling right now, waiting for some people to stick their head up and ring the bell. And it's going to happen at this position right here. The difference is attitude. That's the differences in where you are in the percentage, is attitude. Some people see thunderstorms, some people see rainbows. That's the difference. The one thing that I knew with how fast and how many is nobody controls my attitude. God's given me a good attitude. My dad taught me a good attitude. It was always half full, and it was never anybody else's fault. And that when I heard people complain about this opportunity or what Charlie ought to do and what he didn't do, what I realized was he took his billfold out and started a company for me to succeed, and many others And that's what we have here. You control that every day. Whether it's half full or half empty is going to make a difference. Some people are just bent to be negative, I'm telling you. They're just bent that way. You can tell it in body language, and if you listen to them talk, they don't do well here. There are some people that you can't get them down. And I pray for them because I know it's a tough business. And I hate to see people down, but I've been down. We've all been down. You got to pick it right back up again. Nobody can take that away from you. People follow that. There isn't a person on this earth, I don't believe, deep down inside that don't want to be the best they can be. Some of them have lost it in the beginning. You're created to do that. You're created to want to achieve. Be the best you can possibly be. Use the gifts and the talents that God's given you. I don't know of an opportunity that allows you to do that more than AdvoCare. You work with your fellow man working toward things of accomplishment in two areas that are extremely important. Other than your spiritual life, health and finances are going to determine so much of the short period we have on this earth. And we get to work with that every day. I can't think of anything, and to let an attitude take me out of the game on that is, I don't want to look back and see that. Two things, the attitude, and I want to look back and know that I put the best I could on the table. And you know what? I am not the best or the smartest or the most articulate, but I work that way. I want to do the best I can do today. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Doesn't matter if somebody went faster. That doesn't matter. What did you do today? Was it the best you could do? Boy, those simple things right there, I think, allow you to achieve at a high level. AdvoCare is the type of opportunity that takes the lid off for people like that. Allows them to succeed and do uncommon things. Put a positive filter on your attitude. You ought to guard your attitude, guys. I've said this every time. I'll say it again. It's the most unholy, unethical, difficult society that's ever been in the history of the human race. There are more things to get you off track now than ever. To destroy your marriage, to destroy your finances, to destroy your life, period. And we live in the greatest country in the world. And that exists out there. You've got to put a filter on it. If you're going to be successful in AdvoCare or anything else, but especially this business model, it's built from up here. 95% is built from up here. Pay attention to what you read. What are you reading? Pay attention to it. Pay attention to what you watch. That's why the TV, I'm telling you, if it's not Sports Center, I don't know what it is that's real valuable. I mean, even their commercials, man, will get you off track. But it's tough to find something that is pure, that is wholesome, that doesn't get you off track. What you listen to, that's huge. What goes in comes out. And I'm telling you, we all carry around an energy inside that gets bled a lot of different directions you don't even know. Energy gets fed in areas that are absolutely hidden, that aren't productive at all for you. You got to put a filter on. Who you associate with. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you listening to? Who is your mentor? Who do you look up to? Are they on track? Usually it's going to be the most dominant person in your life. And, that's not where you want to put all your trust or belief in, a person. It defines who your attitude, defines your attitude and who you are. Those things define it. I'm telling you, if you're weak and you got somebody strong around you and their life's off track, it's going to be difficult for you to stay away from that. I've had good friends that I can't stay around them very long. It'll get me off track. And I love them. They're fun, but they're still doing the same things. And I can't afford to stay around that if I'm going to be productive here and lead people. Be committed, determined, and persevere. It's hard to be the person that doesn't quit. I think we've got an opportunity here that's very rewarding for those that stick with it. I don't know where you're at in life right now. There are people that have all types of circumstances. That's why AdvoCare is a part-time opportunity. We're not pushing somebody to go full-time, quit a job, do all those things. We talked about a position today that's achievable and believable, and you can do it with a little bit of sacrifice and rearranging some of your time and things like that. We can't build a business from the corporate office. Your sponsor can't build a business. All we can do is pay attention to the environment. But I'm going to tell you, the people are in the pipeline. Let's go to work. We're going to continue to do these trainings. We'll continue to be in the field. We'll be out there every night if that's what it takes to help you succeed. Y'all have been incredible today. You hadn't got up and moved around. You've had great attention. I love you. I appreciate you. God bless, guys.